Hello guys, I thought I would do a special, one of these special audios, lost stories out there that hasn't been produced back in the 1960s, which I thought the story would have been fantastic. I mean, you got the doctor and you got the monk. The only two characters on this two-part story just brings it a magical story itself. I mean, the doctor lands in the TARDIS out in the mountains, out of nowhere. Guess who was there? The monk. The meddling monk. The doctor thought he would get rid of this meddling monk. But nope, his TARDIS accidentally traveled into the mountains where the meddling monk was at. So they had to go face to face to try to settle their difference. I mean, this story felt magical. The landscape was beautiful. Imagine the mountains nearby with the snow and everything around it. Then you got these two guys, the doctor and the meddling monk, settling up their differences. They disagree with each other, but they had to find a way of talking things out. But there's the problem. When the doctor tried to convince the monk, well, doctor ended up, like in the end of the episode itself, the doctor almost fell off the mountain. But it just only showed it like that for the cliffhanger itself. And, well, let's just say on part 2, the meddling monk saved him. Because, well, the meddling monk wouldn't have a challenge if the doctor was gone too soon. So, at least now we know the meddling monk has got a heart. Well, he's got two hearts. We should know that, since he's a Time Lord. But this story was so magical that the fact that these two, well, they had to try to settle their differences again for part 2. And, well, let's just say that didn't really go too well this time. I mean, when the meddling monk decided to make the doctor mad, the doctor used his cane and bumped the head of the meddling monk. Of course, the meddling monk kept making the doctor mad again, so the doctor used the cane again and bumped hit the meddling monk's head a few times. So, yeah, that right there was definitely had the funny moments of this episode. Well, this two-part episode, that is. And sadly, it wasn't produced in the 1960s. If a story like this was, you know how fantastic this story would be. I mean, I'm sure people would enjoy it as well, as much I enjoy this story as well, between the doctor and the meddling monk facing against each other. Of course, there was some snow creatures that did show up in this episode itself. But the doctor and the monk decided to work with each other and stop these evil snow creatures. So, right there, you see some teamwork in this episode. That's what I like about it. Between two enemies, but working with each other. I mean, we know the meddling monk has made a couple appearances, like his first appearance, and also the Dalek master plan. But this was based after it. And between the doctor and the monk facing off, this was definitely a great story. And if you want another great story to listen to, I suggest you guys to listen to the doctor and the monk. It's a definitely touching story, and you know, I give it a 10 out of 10 because there's like nothing so great as much of this story between the doctor and his rival as the monk. I mean, you just don't have stories like these that much anymore. I mean, if it was only produced back then, a story like this would definitely be fantastic. So that's my review on the story of the doctor and the monk.